how did you find your first deal?
I was working with a partner and we had a lead come across, and it's kind of crazy because we were mostly marketing the foreclosures, but this was a loan modification that came across. And I was thinking to myself, all right, I've got my script ready. I've got all the things I know about foreclosure and how I can work with the seller on this to talk to them through and get the process down. And then comes along a loan modification. And I wasn't really like too sure about what I was going to say with him because there's not as much stress there. I think his thing is that he refinanced, but then he had something going on with his family where they wanted to get a new house and he was looking to sell this house. So he wanted to just get rid of it and then take some of that to move on to the next property. And that being said, it was like, all right, well, now I have to figure out where he's at in his mind, right? To figure out what makes sense for him. And so it was probably like a 2-month negotiation. We got him under contract at the beginning.
What was the challenge with that particular deal that you faced?
The challenge initially was figuring out a good number for him. This was really where I didn't know how to be creative. So I had to come in at the 70% of what the property was worth, minus the repairs, all of that. And I wanted to present that offer to him, and he was asking for this much. He's asking so much more for what we would be willing to offer to him, but he wasn't able to sell the property as it was. There was a lot of work that needed to be done on it. So even if he wanted to list the property, he was going to have to go in and get it list ready.
You need a cash buyer, and listing with an agent is sometimes not the best way because you only one option, cash buyer.
Right, and I mean, the agents, sometimes they can do Photoshop, but I think there was a lot going on in that property where you couldn't really work computer magic on it.
So when you end up did you close that deal?
Yes. Yeah.
How much did you end up paying for it?
So our initial contract with him was $227, and we wholesaled this off for $253. So we made $26,000 on the profit.
And how long?
2 months. But the original thing was we weren't going to make that much. But we had him under contract, and then we were looking at who we can wholesale it to, and then we were looking at with our title companies on the process of getting that through, and we were coming close to our closing date. We had 3 different end buyers where we had originally talked to one guy. He said he was interested, then he backed out. Another guy, he was more down the road, and we actually got paperwork with him, but then it just didn't really make sense. So we ended up terminating that. And then we found our third guy where we wholesaled to him, and we set it up at a price point that was okay for us. But at the end, we said, all right, let's go and negotiate with this guy. See if we can go back on the front end to negotiate him down. And all that was me talking to him about, hey, listen, this is where we're at with this. And I know you really need to sell this. This was in December. And my pitch to him was saying, let's see if we can get this done before the end of the year. And I need to be at this point to get it done for the end of the year because I know it works for taxes for both of us to get both of these properties off the books before 2022 comes around. So if we can sell this thing at this price point, I know we can close before then. And he, after a lot of rebuttal within that, figuring out how we can navigate around that, I think he finally came to the conclusion that, yes, I do need to get this off my books. I don't want to drag this into 2022. And it's a nice Christmas present, really, for his family.
So how much money did you make with that property?
$26,000. So, and I split that. So I made personally $13,000. So when I started this, I was living on oatmeal. I was 25. I had cashed out my 401k from the W-2, and I put it into the networking program. And I think that was something where I just wanted to grind it out, and I wanted to take that step and do the dirty work for it to get there. So that $13,000 really was something that helped me kind of stabilize myself.
It gave you some aha moment. This is actually really going to work. I'm not going crazy. I just need to continue to do what I just did because you made $26,000 in 2 months. Yeah,
that really did open my eyes to it because it was like, okay, so that I've made my first job out of college. I think I was making like $47,000, something like that. And I made half of that in 2 months.
In 2 months. And you put a lot of effort and energy into it. But, it's one of those things that you keep learning, growing. And that's the beautiful thing when it comes to real estate investing. We always learning every single day.
That's honestly, to me, that's the most fun part of it is the learning. It's learning from your own experience with these deals. Oh man, I could have said that. I could have done it this way. I could have wrote it up this way. And you look at that past and you say, all right, well, it still worked, but how can I do it better? But then you also talk to everybody else, figure out how they did it.
I don't want to just go learn, read a book. I just want to actually, how much money is there? And then now let's go make it, let's go learn.
Yeah, I want to make it applicable. I want to dive into it, get the experience from that.
And it's possible. And I've been doing this for the years now, and it does work.